All right, we are live. Join me in the comments section and answer this question. Do you think Nancy Guthrie's disappearance was a planned abduction or a random act of violence? That's the question. The latest news now. A fourth ransom note was sent to TMZ this morning. It says, look, the guy says he knows where Nancy is. He wants the $100,000. He says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border. I was told to shut up. So I know who he is, the abductor, and I saw Nancy with them. Harvey says, look, if this is an imposter, it's a federal crime and you're screwed. And then he looks in the camera and says, if you are real, the fourth letter is real, then we know there is a main person and accomplices, because the author said them. Also, the guy says he won't reveal himself because he has a prior record. Look at Harvey brokering the deal here. He said, send us the info and we will pass it to the FBI. Therefore, there is a record that you were the person that delivered this news and you will get your ransom money. So here we are, week 3 in the Nancy Guthrie investigation of her disappearance. It begins with this fourth note and Savannah's latest video posted Sunday afternoon.
I wanted to come on and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is, that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
Well, I mean, look, so far in the chat section, people say 100% planned. I don't know. I think someone that did the work for her and then they bragged about it to someone else. So planned. Most people think planned. Yeah, I saw a report yesterday. It's very hard to get. GPS gets screwed up finding Nancy Guthrie's house in the winding neighborhood that she lives in. So if it's random, why would they land on her house? It's very hard to get to. GPS screws it up if you're trying to go visit. Anyway, to echo literally everybody, though, what the actual F with this investigation? Look, I agree with Savannah. I remain optimistic. I think good news is about to befall us. I really do. So in preparation, we're going to take a bird's eye view of this whole mess so far and answer, again, in the comments section. Give us your thoughts and your theories. And the guys in the control room there, Steve, our producer, will keep an eye on all the comments. Okay, planned or random? So look, January 31st in the evening, this happens. Nancy Guthrie returns from dinner with Annie and Tommaso. The evidence suggests that someone entered the home, disconnected the doorbell camera late at night. 10 days later, they released doorbell camera video. It reveals a schlubby, amateur, Walmart backpack-buying crypto rookie that he eluded the FBI that long. Does it inspire other losers to follow suit? I don't know. Sunday, February 1st, in the morning, the investigation begins. The family discovers she's missing after she fails to log on to church online. Police and the Pima County Sheriff's Department respond. Early search reveals blood at the scene. No immediate suspect or witness information. Astonishingly, even though blood was found at the front door, the home was initially released from crime scene status, right? Allowing people onto the property, a misstep that could have contaminated evidence, i.e. early forensic opportunities may have been compromised. Okay, Monday, February 2nd, the ransom note demanding Bitcoin sent to KOLD television included details about Nancy's home, some personal items shared with the FBI, but none have yielded a confirmed lead or resulted in locating Nancy. Tuesday, February 3rd, TMZ reports receiving their own ransom note demanding Bitcoin, providing specific addresses and a dateline of February 5th for $4 million. Later, a deadline of February 9th for $6 million. Wednesday, the 4th, Savannah and her siblings release their first emotional plea on video. We're ready to talk, they say, but they ask for proof of life. February 5th, brother Cameron, Savannah's brother, posts, "We have still had no direct contact with whomever took our mom," reiterating a willingness to talk and needing proof of life before negotiations can proceed. February 6th, all three post again, "We received your message. We will pay." Okay, that takes us into week 2. Week 2 begins with the final ransom deadline of $6 million in Bitcoin expiring on Monday, February 9th at 5 p.m. February 10th, some evidence and forensic developments. The FBI releases surveillance images showing the masked intruder. DNA finally retrieved from the crime scene is sent for testing, but results did not identify anybody connected to Nancy or close contacts. Tuesday night, February 10th, a flurry of activity. Online chat rooms and sleuth groups start circling Tommaso, the Savannah's brother-in-law, Annie Guthrie's husband, and his bandmate, this guy who's sitting on the right. He has a rap sheet from 1999, so people think, okay, maybe it's him. It's 27 years ago. But anyway, then there's LifeNet flight logs from Tucson Hospital to Rio Rico, which is 15 miles from the Mexican border, south of Tucson, and back. LifeNet flights to Rio and back with reports of an elderly person on board. That gets everybody going. Then a major infusion when a person turns out to be a GLS delivery driver named Carlos Palazuelos. He gets detained for questioning in Rio Rico, then released without charges. He's cleared. His mother-in-law and he both speak to the press and basically say the same thing. Huh? February 11th, TMZ receives another note demanding 1 Bitcoin in exchange for info that leads to the alleged kidnapper. February 12th, Thursday night, last Thursday, multiple reports, including from Reuters, emerged that the Pima County Sheriff's Department sent key evidence, gloves and DNA, to a private lab rather than the FBI crime lab, prompting a lot of criticism that this could delay analysis. Chris Nanos, the sheriff of Pima County. Then Friday the 13th, SWAT teams execute a search a couple miles from Nancy Guthrie's home and investigate a Range Rover that's 2 miles away with something in the back of it, but they make no arrests and detain a man and his mom and another man only briefly for questioning. Okay, some hopeful news on this Monday as we head into week 3. Investigators have found 16 gloves near Nancy Guthrie's home, most of them just thrown away, but one glove found 2 miles away contained a DNA sample that preliminary analysis indicates appears to match gloves seen on the masked and armed man captured on the surveillance video. This is a potentially significant lead towards ultimately apprehending the suspect, who's about 5'9", 5'10", average build, wearing gloves, as you saw, a ski mask, and carrying a 25-liter Ozark trail pack. The FBI increased the reward to $100,000. As you know, Nancy's health is at risk with some medication. And again, where we started, the 4th ransom note sent this morning to TMZ says he knows where Nancy is. He wants the $100,000. I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, he says, suggesting Nancy is in Mexico. I was told to shut up. So I know who he is, and I saw Nancy with them. Anyway, there is a main person and accomplices is what we learn. Okay. Now, this is where we are on that situation. What happens from here? Let's hope they make the connection on this glove and something good happens. I don't know why I feel the same way as Savannah. Hopeful. positive.
And Billy, I got a few things here. We got some people commenting on all this here, so I'll rattle a few off for you.
Go ahead.
Jackie Ono, regular robbers won't grab an old woman. It's a liability for them to get caught dragging her along. Regular robbery would have probably killed her, says that was Jackie Ono. And then we have Joe the Cat says, I thought it might be something sophisticated at first, but I don't think so now, mind you. In the kidnap world, this is not a crazy long time. And then this one, I think you'll agree with Billy, APWQ9DV. This investigation seems to be a bit disaster. And I just feel badly for the family. Feels like a disaster, Bill.
I know. It's so far, nothing. I happen to think that it was planned, shoddily planned. I do think for some reason, my intuition tells me that she is okay. And I think this week, I'm even going to prognosticate that there is going to be some good news. I feel like this week is going to bring good news. All right. Turning to the Epstein Files. As of Valentine's Day, creepily enough, all the files have been released, according to the law firm of Bondi and Blanche. Pam Bondi has said every file is now out there. Some people have suffered embarrassment in this. Some people dismissal. Most we don't know. Trump said to Marjorie Taylor Greene when she said, why are you fighting this so hard? Why are you fighting, this stuff coming out? He said, I have too many friends that will get hurt. Right now, there is an unquenchable thirst for accountability. Like in Nancy Guthrie's case and so many others, the internet is the insta-net. Info and lack of info moves so quickly. There's always a mounting pressure to deliver something. Representative Ro Khanna, who in the grand scheme, in the big picture, has done a great job with his bipartisan partner Thomas Massie in all of this, in their efforts to hold the DOJ and powerful men that they hid accountable. He just outed 4 innocent guys in a photo next to 2 creeps. The 2 creeps, Les Wexner and the Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, both known, affirmed, co-conspiring scumbags. The other 4 guys, we won't mention their names. They have nothing on these guys. But, look, that's the pressure. Everyone feels pressure to deliver. And so we have a new sacrificial lamb. And excuse my PTSD on this. Talent agent and LA 28 chairman Casey Wasserman gets taken down, selling his agency because clients are fleeing. No evidence there to suggest he had anything to do with Jeffrey or Ghislaine after their criminal conduct came to light. What we're doing here is executing a bystander. Casey Wasserman had to step down. Okay? His business was facing costly defections from bandwagon activists like Abby Wambach, the women's national soccer player who issued a scathing statement. I read Casey Wasserman's correspondence in the Epstein Files. I'm following my gut and my values. Chappell Roan. I hold my teams to the highest standards and have a duty to protect them as well. No artist, agent, or employee should ever be expected to defend or overlook actions that conflict so deeply with our own moral values. What a lofty stance. John Summit, the DJ and record producer, took to X to declare that if Wasserman did not step down, he would join the growing exodus. His actions do not reflect the integrity of the agents I work with. So what did Casey do? Casey Wasserman flew on Epstein's jet in 2002. He was part of a Clinton Foundation trip to Africa. Bill got the plane and about 30 people on board of it. Bill, by the way, a famous plane pincher. No emails between Casey and Jeffrey Epstein exist. No visit to the disgusting island by Casey. Casey did exchange a dozen emails with Ghislaine from March and April 2003. They were flirty. They were sexy. Maybe he wanted to have sex with Ghislaine. I don't know. It was a long time ago. He was 29, married with small kids. By the way, Casey's wife was on the flight. Chris Tucker and Ron Burkle were also on that flight. Ted Waite, the technology giant, lived with Ghislaine for 8 years. Okay, he saw nothing? In 2019, there was a charity car race called Cash and Rocket. And it's a trip that 30 powerful women take. And by the way, for charity, the trafficking of women, to fight trafficking. 2019, Cash and Rocket, fancy, well-heeled women racing cars from London to Monaco. That was all those women on there are with Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the returning face who does this event. Paris Hilton was in that race with Ghislaine. This is 2019, okay? Just before 2 months before Jeffrey Epstein is indicted on federal charges. But well after he served time in jail in 2008 on a state basis in Florida. Casey Wasserman communicated with Epstein or Ghislaine as much as I did in the last 23 years. Not at all. So Wasserman was pressured to resign or sell his very big, successful talent agency for communications with Ghislaine from a time when nobody knew what she and Jeffrey were up to. Again, 2002 was the flight. 2003 was the communication. How in the world was Casey Wasserman supposed to know that 23 years ago, for 2 months of his life, he flirted with a future criminal? There's another guy they're going after, Professor David Gelernter, a Yale science professor. He recommended a woman for a job with Jeffrey Epstein, and in the email to Jeffrey, he said she was very small and good-looking, a very small, good-looking blonde, knowing that Jeffrey was a playboy billionaire, speaking to him in his language. Right? Does that make him like, is he feeding someone to feeding a sheep to a wolf? This is the escalating war on human flaws. The convenient, timely execution of somebody for things we all do. Larry Summers. Screw that guy. He cavorted with a known pedophile. There are plenty of names like the Sultan and Les Wexner. You can just feed to the wolves because they're disgusting. So Casey Wasserman has to step down from his company, sell the company, change its name, get his name off of it. He put out a statement. I'm deeply sorry that my past personal mistakes have caused you, his longtime employees, so much discomfort. Has it? Did they really look into it? It's not fair to you, he says, and it's not fair to the clients and partners we represent so vigorously and care so deeply about. The pain experienced by the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is unimaginable. That's right. And I'm glad, as I'm sure you all are, that those who helped them commit their crimes are rightly being held accountable. Right. Hopefully by now you know the facts about my limited interactions with those two individuals. It was years before their criminal conduct came to light, and its entirety consisted of one humanitarian trip to Africa and a handful of emails I deeply regret sending. And I'm heartbroken that my brief contact with them 23 years ago has caused you, my employees, this company, and its clients so much hardship over the past days and weeks. Other than my children and my fiance, there are two things that matter most to me in this world. This company that I founded 24 years ago and the dream I've pursued for more than a decade of bringing the Olympic Games back to the city I love. This organization, its leadership and the entire team mean the world to me. Our 4,000 employees are the absolute best in the biz. I see you put it all on the line for your clients every day. Our clients expect and deserve world-class representation, and that's exactly what they get because of all of you. At this moment, I believe that I've become a distraction to those efforts. Yes, you have. But it's not your fault. That is why I have begun the process of selling the company, an effort that is already underway. Now, LA28 is the organization that is putting together the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. Wasserman is the chairman. Late last week, after hiring a law firm to review Wasserman's interactions with Epstein and Maxwell, LA 28's executive committee concluded there was no reason for him to step down. I applaud every member of that committee who all they did was take a breath and take a look. They did not make a knee-jerk reaction to Casey's, moonlight in the Epstein Files 23 years ago and encourage people to stay focused on the real creeps and enablers, and worse, traffickers and pedophiles. There is no doubt, you'll agree with me, there's a general numbness amongst the population right now, and probably you probably feel it too, regarding the latest but definitely greatest scandal of our time. Why?
Bill. Oh, sorry, buddy. I was going to jump in here because we had a couple things commenting on it. I don't want to get too far away from it here.
Go ahead.
Joy, we love our Joy. She says, regardless, you do not describe a future employee as a hot blonde. But on the other side of that, police and procedure said, Joy, I hear that all the time in my work environment. And I think that's kind of a staple. You always get these two sides to something.
It's not optimal. You don't say a very beautiful, hot little blonde, whatever. If you want to help this person get a job and you know that that's the language, when you're a salesperson, people buy differently, right? They buy differently. So if someone is a, computer nerd, you say, this person is really good at Excel. Boy, she can handle any kind of data downloads, You speak their language. That was Epstein's language. The woman wanted a job with Epstein. That was the way he spoke. It's regrettable. It's regrettable. It sounds gross. But is it, worthy of execution? No. But why is there this general sort of numbness we all have? You just see this every Tom, Dick, and Harry is looking up a file, has a post, has a take, and your Instagram feed just goes on and on and on. Why are we numb to it? Why is there a malaise that I worry a malaise will set in? Well, one, the bystander effect. When somebody else is diffuse, i.e. somebody else, we get this feeling, somebody else will handle it, right? Individuals feel less urgency to act because somebody else will handle it. The more people that are aware of a problem, the easier it is to assume that others will respond. The diffusion of responsibility, closely related to bystander effect. In national scandals, people assume institutions like courts and Congress and prosecutors in the media will address it and get it done. Cognitive dissonance with new information, conflicts with someone's political identity or past support for a figure. It creates a psychological discomfort. A common response is to minimize, rationalize, or dismiss the information rather than revise one's belief, right? Motivated reasoning. People interpret evidence in ways that protect their existing worldview. Supporters may see allegations as an attack. Opponents may see them as confirmation. This reduces unified outrage. There's tribalism and social identity theory, right? Political affiliation functions like group identity attacks on a political leader. They're often experienced as attacks on the group itself, right? So MAGA feels like you're attacking them. You're impugning them as you go after their, supreme commander. The normalization and scandal fatigue, right? When a public figure has been surrounded by repeated controversies like Donald Trump, each additional revelation may produce diminishing emotional responses. It's a version of flood the zone. We're numb. Nothing surprises us with him. Then there's learned helplessness and political cynicism after repeated scandals without visible accountability. People can conclude that outrage changes nothing. Information overload? Well, this is the constant exposure to extreme news. And does it blunt a real, authentic, deep emotional response? Sure. People disengage as a coping mechanism. It's not your fault. Of course, public reaction depends heavily on what has been legally proven versus alleged. And our justice system is run by Pam Bondi, who is Trump's chew toy. She's not taking any action on behalf of victims or against the powerful elite names we have learned. Her performance last week in front of the House Judiciary Committee was disdainful, petulant, beyond dismissive to, I would say, insubordinate. She's fully corrupt in shielding the most corrupt president this country's ever seen. We're lost in America, baby. Morality used to be the litmus test for the president of the United States. Now it's not even a factor. He's just knocked that wall completely down. Speaking of Attorney General Pam Bondi, I mean, she has been a disgrace in her treatment of the survivors who cannot get a call back. They stand behind her with their hands up. No interviews to tell their stories. Pam is going to the greatest lengths to obscure the worst parts of the Epstein Files. Many people have risen to the occasion to hunt through the chaotic database, and you can get ready to meet one of them. She's on deck and waiting. But first, got to take a little break here for our sponsor. We all have love languages, and if you've got a dog, you know they have one too. Some dogs want quality time, some love physical touch, but most dogs, their love language is food, right? They will lick and jump all over whoever's holding the food. Celebrate the one you love the most by giving them the best, highest quality ingredients with one of our sponsors, Ollie. And yes, it's the kind of meal dogs actually get excited about. My guy, who's oddly enough, ironically enough, his real name is Ollie, loves this fresh food. It's the best way to show our dogs love every day. Ollie's got human-grade recipes backed by vet nutritionists and crafted with culinary experts, so even the pickiest eaters will show more excitement during mealtime. And Ollie has tailored meal plans to meet your dog's specific needs. Perfectly portioned meals in mess-free packaging, and the tech is top-notch. The Ollie app offers an on-demand health screening where you can tap real experts for your puppy's peace of mind, so show your dog some love. Head to ollie.com/hotmics. Tell them about your dog. Use the code HOTMICS to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box. That's ollie.com, OLLIE.com/hotmics, all lowercase. The code is HOTMICS to get 60% off your first box. So on January 30th, of this year, the Department of Justice released hundreds of gigabytes of material related to Jeffrey Epstein. There are 14 hours of video buried deep in the DOJ's latest Epstein Files release. Tanya Lukyanova and her team from the Free Press watched all of it, all those videos. You can too. Dataset 10 has all the creepy stuff. Tanya is with us right now from the Free Press studio. But Tanya, before we get talking, I want you to see this lambasting, an absolute lambasting by Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee. He absolutely unloaded on Pam Bondi and listen, he doesn't just represent Maryland. He represents a lot of people frustrated with the absolute stonewalling and the corruption, it seems, from the Justice Department and Pam Bondi. Okay, here we go. Fire away, Jamie Raskin, going after Pam.
You're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein Files, but you've turned over only 3 million. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends, but you published their names. their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy.
Wow. So, and as we know, Ghislaine Maxwell is pleading the fifth in her appearance before Congress, so she can hold out for a presidential pardon from Donald Trump, who has pardoned actually far worse people than her, which is incredible. And how could there be anyone worse than her, other than, of course, Epstein? But anyway, Tanya Lukyanova from the Free Press, who's written all about this and has, like I said, soldiered through 14 hours of video buried deep in the DOJ's latest Epstein Files, is with us right now. Data set 10 is where a lot of the creepy stuff is. Tanya, you watched 2000 video. I mean, how did you feel when the viewing was over?
Billy, thank you so much for having me on. In terms of how I felt, like I wanted to take a shower, I would say is how I would describe it. It is not an easy watch. Those videos are incredibly hard to watch. And just to add to Mr. Ruskin's testimony, which, hit the nail on the head, I think, in many of the cases, with the videos in particular, I think it's another example of where the DOJ either advertently or inadvertently has been stalling the process. These videos, even though they are technically a matter of public record, are incredibly hard to find. The DOJ does not have any master index. It does not have there's no way to browse the database, let alone search by file type. And the majority of these videos are buried deep at the very end of dataset 10. So in order to uncover them, you can either download hundreds of gigabytes of material or click through hundreds of pages at the DOJ site one by one. So, in terms of speaking of the DOJ and the way that they're releasing these Epstein files, it has been pretty frustrating, I think, for a lot of people who are looking at it from the journalistic perspective, at least. I mean,
they can't. The problem that they can't escape is that the president is mentioned over 1 million times, in this. In the Epstein files and in the documents. I mean, he's all over the place. He keeps saying, move on. I never went to the island. Only the Democrats did. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, those guys did this. This is their problem. Move on, move on, move on. And yet they keep redacting. They're supposed to unredact, like they, for Congress in the reading room on Monday, the 9th of February, Congress was allowed to come in and view everything, but it was still heavily redacted. I mean, they keep obfuscating. They keep, the cover-up going, what appears like a cover, while he keeps saying there's nothing to see here, move on. There you go, is a this is a paradigm that's not going to let people move on. So
right. No, I think there are two things here, right? You're absolutely right that the names of a lot of the alleged predators are conspicuously redacted from a lot of the documents. And on the flip side, and you can see that in the videos too sometimes, those are some of the hardest to watch videos, are those where redaction fails, where a woman's face is visible either for a few frames or sometimes even for an entire clip. That is mind-boggling to me, given how many people have
What did you see
this
in those slip-ups right there? What did you encounter?
Well, there's one incredibly disturbing clip. And again, redactions, these black squares, sometimes they cover explicit material. Sometimes they just add an air of criminality to otherwise innocuous clips.
Right.
And I think those are some of the most disturbing ones. There is one clip where A girl is in a store picking out jelly beans, and the redaction fails for a few frames, and you can see her face, and she looks like a teenager. And, she's just picking out jelly beans. So in any other context, that would be a completely innocent clip. But the fact that it is added here and the fact that her face is blacked out for most of it is very disturbing. I will say that the DOJ mentioned that they have been treating the majority of women, other than known accomplices like Ghislaine Maxwell, as potential victims. So that's why most of the videos, including commercial porn, which Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of on his devices, they're all fully redacted. But again, every
You
once
saw
in a
lots
while,
of
the
porn.
redacted porn.
Redacted porn.
The only thing that's visible in that in those clips are the watermarks in the corners, and they are pretty telling. Stuff like, the word teens is used quite a bit in whatever combinations you can think of.
Oh my God! So what you've gone through is, there's clips that you shared of Jeffrey talking to these women, saying, these young women, girls, I don't know, saying, come on, look happier, like they're doing a photo shoot. He's like, come on, smile. You got to look like you love me. Come on. And he's reaching for one girl's shirt and trying to like pull up her top, and she seems a bit resistant.
Yeah. I should mention that we have sort of published two separate things. First, we did the investigation at the Free Press, where we sort of did the cut down of the full 14-hour videos, where we just have selects of some of the clips that sort of paint the picture of Jeffrey Epstein's world. But then we also released the full 14-hour tapes, which is released in two parts. One part is around 8 hours long, and another part is around 6 hours long. And anybody's welcome to go on YouTube right now and look through all these files for themselves. And the reason we did that is, again, because it's been so hard to access these files, and because of the experience that I had with it, we decided that it is in the public interest to see these files. And I think this is one of those instances where the total sum of these released files is more revealing than any individual clip in particular, because when you just see the sheer volume of sexually explicit material that his victims have sent to him at his behest, when you see the sheer volume of commercial pornography that he appears to have downloaded, that stuff kind of speaks for itself. And it paints, the cumulative amount of information is what paints the most vivid picture yet of his dark world.
Yeah, the creepiest part is all the naked videos and things that he got people to send to him, like some kind of depraved, frat kid in college. This is a guy who's in his 60s. I mean, just a disgusting.
Yeah. Well, what struck me is how kind of in the open he is about it throughout these videos. He appears, as you mentioned, in some of these videos. He records a lot of these videos himself. There's a whole subset, a whole category of videos that are all shot from the same angle, from what appears to be behind his desk, with redacted women dancing at various hours of the day. So, you can kind of look at the totality of this, and you can really get a very intimate look into his psyche.
Yeah, and there's shots of his groin area naked in a towel and his, fat furry belly, and just enough to just creep you out. Then he's got all kinds of he's got Deepak Chopra in there. I guess he videotaped a bunch of he must have hired a Deepak for his some type of personal sessions or something, or
I've seen speculation online, and according to some of the released emails that I've had a chance to look at, people have been calling him, journalists have been calling Deepak Chopra apparent Epstein confidant. There are a lot of videos that feature him, and not only are these downloaded materials like appearances or his media talks, but there are also a lot of self-recorded monologues by Deepak Chopra that appear to be something that he just sent for the audience of one, for the audience of Epstein. So he appears to be talking to Epstein directly in many of these reels where he talks about the nature of the universe and reality and consciousness. So it's
Wow.
very kind of it's interesting to see.
What did you encounter any videos of the big names that we all have heard, as in Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and, all these other, I mean, they're all over the place. Lord Mandelson, member of Parliament from the UK.
Right.
I mean, any of these
Right.
folks other than Trump? I mean, is Trump, I assume there's no videos of Trump.
Yeah, they do not appear in videos. There are a few notable figures with whom Epstein appears on video in these files. I mentioned some of them. There is a former French Minister of Culture, I believe, Jacques Lang, who is now facing a probe and scrutiny inside France over his ties to Epstein. He just resigned from the Arab World Institute, which he headed, in the pressure from this. There's also a video of Epstein with Harvard psychologist Steven Pinker on his private plane. So there are a few notable figures who appear throughout the set, but I wouldn't say that this is, these are mostly videos that Epstein either recorded himself, downloaded from the internet, or videos that were sent to him. So I think it's less.
It's further
notable
damning,
figures.
and video, the evidence is more damning of Epstein, but we all know that he is a depraved and sick man. So,
Right.
But it really is about, the victims and the fact that there's redaction and these black squares that are covering their faces mostly, but there's also there's still redaction. I mean, and sorry, Pam Bondi, she's revealed the names of people. Jamie Raskin in that oversight committee Judiciary Committee was slamming her for that. So
Right.
I mean, it's just there's further disservice to them. What do you do with this?
Well, you're completely right. It is the redactions make no sense, and in fact, my colleague at the Free Press, Isaac Grafstein, is working on a story just about that's coming out in the coming days.
Good.
So, but you're exactly right. I think you hit the nail on the head. You are protecting the identities of the alleged perpetrators when you're inadvertently exposing victims one after another, and it's been the case throughout the release of these materials. It's just very unfortunate.
Well, Tanya, you've done a great job here. Poor Tanya had to go through 2,000 videos here that the DOJ tried to keep in the reeds somewhere, but it certainly doesn't reflect well on Pam Bondi or anyone at the DOJ for the way these, it just reminds you emphatically how terribly these girls were treated. And that means anybody associated with them, people aren't going to stop asking questions about their involvement. Powerful, elite, wealthy, connected people and their involvement to something as depraved as that. So, Tanya, thank you very much. Her work is in the Free Press. Her article is in the Free Press. You can check it out right now, Substack or what is it, thefp.com. Yeah?
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me on, Billy. It was a pleasure.
Okay, continue the great work. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, like we were saying before, I mean, this is a person who's willing to dive, into all that information as the rest of us are just feeling overwhelmed. I mean, I dive into some, but you, who's listening right now, bless your heart, but you must feel overwhelmed. I get it. And something I said earlier before we go, and that is, there is this mad rush for accountability. And so we're just reaching for whoever we can latch onto and eliminate so that we feel better. Coupled with the internet's insatiable appetite for salacious news as it keeps going. And on that note, I think of, the guy I mentioned before, Casey Wasserman. Somehow getting rid of all these celebrities that, are Wasserman clients, standing up on their soapboxes with the, fire Casey, get rid of Casey, before they even look in. They don't even know. They don't even know he hasn't spoken to Ghislaine Maxwell or anyone or Jeffrey or whatever, 23 years. They don't know the circumstances. Just, oh my God, he was on the plane. I can't be a client. But it's someone else's job to say, okay, Chapel Roan or Abby Wambach, or settle down for a second. Chris Tucker was on the plane with him. Are you going to not star in that movie with Chris? Ron Burkle, are you not going to let him produce your next film? Whatever. And many other people. Should we be angry at Paris Hilton, for doing a charity car race across the desert with other rich, fancy women because Ghislaine Maxwell was in it? And it was for trafficking? A charity for trafficking? Oh, my God. You can't just pick and choose. And that leads me to one final thought here. And that is that the internet is now trying to take down Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, because of after the Daytona 500, where his team, Team 23, won the race. There is video in celebration of Michael playing and grabbing at the back, the lower back and shirt of a little boy, and tickling his hamstrings and playing with him. And some people said it looks inappropriate. If you didn't know the person, you'd be like, who is this? That's Tyler. The boy is the son of Tyler Reddick, the driver who won the Daytona 500, Michael Jordan's driver. They're very close. The kid loves his uncle Mike. That's the way Mike plays. I reached out to a really close friend of Michael Jordan's who has kids in the whole thing. And he's like, are you kidding me? Michael does that with my kids all the time. Plays with them. They adore him. So if you want to be outraged, if you want to select outrage in this moment against Michael Jordan, go ahead. I hope it makes you feel better. It is not, I understand the sensitivity and the times that we live in right now, especially given everything we just talked about. But I for one, am going to leave Michael Jordan completely out of it. It does not apply. Okay, that's it for Hot Mics on this Monday. And we have one final piece of information because it just happened, and that is the death of Robert Duvall. Actor Robert Duvall died at 95 years old yesterday, peacefully at home. His wife, Luciana Duvall, put out a statement saying that he passed at home. What an amazing guy. We just had Andy Garcia in studio not long ago talking about Robert Duvall dancing. She said that he had a deep love for his characters as well as a great meal and holding court. Raise your hand if you'd like to be sitting at a dinner party next to Robert Duvall while he was holding court. God, you'd have to fight me for it, or hopefully we could be one on each side. Anyway, thanks for the memories, and rest in peace, the great Bobby D. That's it for Hot Mics. With me, Billy Bush, presented by LAGOLF, along with our sponsor, PrizePicks. It is the best place to win money. Watching any sport, the app is quick and easy. All you got to do is pick more or less on a few player stats. You can win up to 2,000 times your cash on a single lineup. Right now, PrizePicks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Just use promo code HOTMICS and download the PrizePicks app. Okay, thanks for listening on TuneIn. Thanks for watching live on Facebook and YouTube. We are back tomorrow morning for Morning Mics at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific. And Hot Mics again on Wednesday. We will have Brian Enton at the top of the show. Why? Because he's the best reporter covering the Nancy Guthrie disappearance, and I believe there is good news coming this week. I hope we're with Brian when it happens. I hope it happens in 3 minutes. But we'll break it all down with him. Thanks for being with us. That's it for Hot Mics today. Bye-bye.